Yeah, the jungle. That's where I was yesterday. Well, not really the jungle, but Namibia, one of my favorite countries in southern Africa. Some animals were happy to see me. Some of them were thinking, oh no, not him again. But anyway, I was leading a photo tour there, and what I noticed is that many photographers, in the beginning, they tend to include everything in their photos because they don't have a clue how people look at photographs. What I've learned throughout the years is that when you exclude elements, the message becomes so much clearer. Many marketeers, as Michael pointed out this morning, tend to want to tell everything on their website because they don't have a clue what people expect from their websites and how people use their website. Same message. The less elements you have on your webpage, the clearer your message will be. So I'm Karl from AG Consult. That's also my Twitter handle, so I love feedback after this session on Twitter. And I'm in this business since 2001. And today I'm going to talk about how to make sure that your new website isn't a failure, or even your new landing page. And I have the feeling that especially in the conversion world, lots of people are against website redesigns. But they're not all evil. And now some of you are thinking, yes, Karl, but what about the Marks and Spencer case where they spent 150 million British pounds and they launched a new website and they saw a drop in revenue with 8%? Well, in that case, I don't think that the redesign as such was a problem, but maybe the people that were responsible for the redesign, because they didn't go out of their office. They did lots of brainstorms. Interesting. But they didn't do user research. And newsflash, if you don't do user research and you make a new landing page or a new website, you're gambling. But that's the same with conversion optimization. When you do an A/B test without user research, you're gambling too, and most of your tests will probably be failures. Now, let me be clear. When a redesign is just a redesign, don't do it. If your walls are crumbling down, a new layer of paint won't help. And that's the problem with most websites, and people have been talking about this earlier today. It's not the look that's the problem. It's mostly the content, the structure, the value proposition. Imagine you open your fridge, and there's a bottle of milk, and you think like, And you start drinking, and the milk has gone sour. And then you start thinking, you organize a brainstorm, and then somebody has a brilliant idea. Oh, let's craft a new bottle, an empty one. And they make the most beautiful bottle in the history of mankind. And then you take the new bottle and you pour the milk from the old bottle in the new one. And you think like, oh, no, the milk is still sour. And the problem with most websites is not the packaging, but it's the content. And a new design, when it's only a design, will almost never have a big effect because it doesn't answer a business need, it doesn't answer a user need. Now, unfortunately, most of the traditional web agencies, they made all those marketeers believe that you have to have a new website every 3, 4, 5 years. No, but this is what everybody wants to believe, that every time that you launch a new website, you will be better and better, and at the end you will reach your pot of gold. But the harsh reality is that because you don't invest a lot in that new website during those 3, 4, 5 years, your new website crumbles down, and in the meantime, in the same time, your competitors go ahead of you because they start working on it and the gap becomes bigger and bigger. So yes, I do believe in continuous improvement. Okay, but why am I on stage then talking about redesigns? Well, sometimes you need a redesign, and maybe redesign is not the best word, but it should be a new website. Now, there are 3 reasons, and the first reason may come as a shock, so please hold on to your horses. Some people don't have a website. The second one, maybe your current website sucks donkey balls. And I went to Google Images to find a photo for this slide. I'm not going to use it. Don't do an image search for sucks donkey balls. It's kind of strange. But anyway, sometimes, and that can be a content problem, a structure problem, and we've been talking about information architecture before, But what we sometimes have, and especially for non-profits and government institutions, is that they have huge websites. This is the Red Cross in Belgium. They had 88,000 pages, lots of duplicated content, lots of rubbish. Lots of websites, like the one that Michael showed, there was just one page, navigation items everywhere, you don't have no idea where to click, and some websites they have layers and layers and layers of content. So in those cases, yes, maybe you need a new website. It can also be that your technology is outdated. I'm not really talking about front page and Dreamweaver and Flash systems, things like that, but maybe you're still using an old version of Drupal or WordPress and it doesn't fulfill your needs anymore, or maybe your website is not mobile friendly. And yes, you can apply conversion optimization methods to those crappy websites and you will see an improvement, but the problem is when you start optimizing a shitty website, the end result will just be a website that is a little bit less shitty. And I don't think that's the goal of our business. That's not why we're here. So, and that is also the third reason. Your website has hit its local maximum. You're working on it, and then there's the point you can't improve it anymore, and maybe then you should have a new website. So this is what I really believe, continuous improvement, and then from time to time, maybe someday, you need a new website to take you to the next level. Some cases to illustrate this approach, and then we go into the methodology. This is Visit Ostende, a tourism website of a beautiful city at the Belgian coast. And we were working on this website for 2 years. We had some improvements, but then we hit the local maximum. There were a lot of things that we noticed from user research that people wanted, but the technical background didn't allow us to do. So we made a new website. It's not about the design. It's about what really happened in the background. The old one wasn't mobile friendly, the new one is. We even have some geolocation, so when you're walking around in the city, the content changes. We have automated theme pages. The home page is changed automatically depending on the weather and the weather forecast and the time of year and stuff like that. We also did a lot of email marketing things. So there were results we could never have with the old website. Some people know me, and they're now waiting for Suzuki. Yes, this is the Suzuki moment. This is, finally. Now, this is how we inherited the Suzuki website. It must be now 9 years ago. It used frames, Flash, a product page was one paragraph of text, and then you can download the brochure. So we made a new website, or the concept of a new website. It even included a slider on top. Everybody can make mistakes. And sorry, Jared, but one of our metrics, well, it was not, but one of the results we saw there was that the bounce rate halved, and also we had more leads. And then we've been working on that website for 7 years now, because conversion optimization, you can do it always, room for improvement. Of course, we ditched the sliders meanwhile. If you want to know more about Suzuki or things we did, go to my slide share. But the end result now, after these 7 years, is this. It's kind of okay. 1,300% more leads, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is we could never have done this with the old website. So, yes, you need a new website or a new landing page from time to time. Now, the good news, if you're only a conversion optimization specialist, is that you probably do something similar like us. You start with Google Analytics and other analytics methods to find the problem areas in your website. Then you use user research, like Jared told us before, to find out why it's a problem. Then you fix the problem, or you create a hypothesis, you do an A/B test, and then you do it all over again. Information architecture, in its core, uses the same methods. You start with user research, real user research, to find out what the problem areas are in the website. Then you create a roadmap, structure, mockups, and lots of user testing. Now, the user research is so important. And for me, the goal of user research is to gather the facts so you have enough ammunition to fight against all those people that have opinions. Because that's one of the horrible things in our business is, I think it should be red, I think it should be blue, there should be a unicorn included, and then your website is a big mess. Your goal is to fight against those people. If gut feeling really resulted in the best websites ever, every website I touched would have been gold. and you have to fight against the hippo. And this is really the crusade I'm fighting for the last 15 years. We have to end all those things, and it shouldn't be done in a bloody way, but we have to end this stuff. And that's why you need your user research, to convince everybody in your company. And then there's this. You have a meeting room and you talk about user research, and always there is one prick saying, remember Karl, Henry Ford, he said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Well, fuck them. Henry Ford never said this. There has been a study recently, and apparently that quote only appeared for the first time in 2002. He was not very healthy at that time anymore. And for me, it's not a coincidence that it's 1 year after Jacob Nielsen, together with Don Norman, one of the godfathers and foundationers of our business, wrote an article, The First Rule of Usability, Don't Listen to Your Users. Now, the article is good. But Jacob, what a crappy title. Because now every marketer who sees that title thinks, you see, even usability people say you don't have to listen to users. But that's not what he says. He says usability and user research is about observing your users. It's to see where they succeed and where they fail, what they like, where they got frustrated. And that's what usability and user research is about. Don't ask people, what do you think of the colors of this website? That's fucking shit. Oh, that's not very important, those things. Sorry, jet lag. User research is different than market research. Market research is about, what do you think? Do you think you need this? No, user research is observing behavior. And these are my favorite methods for redesign projects. Of course, Google Analytics, user behavior analysis tools, user testing, and targeted surveys. Now, there will be more people talking about Google Analytics today, I think even, so I won't do it. But one of the things I always do when we have big projects in Google Analytics is looking for the least visited pages. Because many websites, they have so many pages that are the graveyard, and nobody looks at them. And yes, you should have the guts to prune your website, and not with a little scissor, but you really have to chop half of the trees of your website. And probably it will even help your rankings in Google. Get rid of the clutter. And of course, we have those user behavior analytics tools that allows us to have click heat maps, scroll heat maps, user session recordings, and they can reveal a lot if you know what you're looking for. This is a click heat map of a homepage of Barco, which is a company specialized in high-end screens and projectors and stuff for cinemas, finance industry, healthcare industry. And this is the click heat map of their homepage. Not a lot of clicks, huh? Some people try to click on the second thing in the slider and then they give up. And there's one item in the navigation that's responsible for about 43% of clicks. Any guess what the word is in the navigation? Products, yes! So what does this tell us? That people maybe want to see products or product categories on the homepage. That's what you can learn from these tools if you know what you're looking for. If you have a homepage and you have a scroll heat map like this, where you have a kind of a rainbow pattern, where it goes from red, everybody sees, to dark blue and black, nobody sees it. Yeah, you can change some things on your website. So use those tools and not just like, oh, fancy colors, but know what you're looking for and then act on it. And of course, there's user testing. Guerrilla user testing, lab testing, moderated user testing. Very important, do it. Observe your users, where they succeed, where they fail, where they laugh, where they become grumpy. It will learn you a lot. I can talk for 2 days about user testing. I won't. But it's a very important thing, and I still love it. It's one of the first methods we had before all those fancy stuff, but it's still, and Jamie talked about it, one of the things that's amazing. You will learn so much of it. And then, maybe also one of my favorite methods, targeted surveys, where you only have 1, 2, maybe 3 questions on your website, maybe by mail. This is my list of favorite questions. I'm not going to read them out aloud. Pep will send you the presentations after. Something went wrong here. jet lag. My favorite questions. But I will show you what you can do with this. This is TUI. It's one of the biggest travel groups in Europe. And this is their homepage. And typically for a travel website is where do you want to go and when do you want to go? So we did some research on the website for people who wanted to make a booking. And apparently 41% or 43% didn't have a destination in mind. There goes your where field. And 51% didn't have a fixed date in mind. So, that went. More people, they had a time frame in mind, like Easter holidays, Christmas holidays, whatever, summer holidays. And even a bigger group know what type of vacation they want. Sun, adventure, culture, whatever. In September, October, one of the most popular questions in a real travel agency in Belgium is, I want to go during Christmas holidays to a place where it's still hot. Good luck. But you have to know those things. You have to know the intentions and the knowledge of your users. You have to know if your ID is right. This is the Koenig, a manufacturer of windows, doors, and terraces. We had a questionnaire with one simple question. Hey, what is the purpose of your visit to our website today? And apparently, it's an open question, 37% of all answers had to do with this button, find your dealer. People were looking, where can I buy this stuff? More people even, is there a showroom? Where is the nearest showroom? Where can I see this stuff? So instead of hiding this behind a button, we integrated the dealer locator in the homepage, which resulted in 23 times more people using the dealer locator. And for me, that means that we made 23 times more people happy. That's the goal of your website, making people happy. Another example of this, a website that sells car parts. There's images, there is a bullet list, there are even green check marks, call to action and stuff like that. I don't know nothing about car parts. So we asked a question on the website for people who who asked an offer. And then we sent an email with 3 questions to everybody who has bought a car part in the last 12 months. What was the main reason you bought this car part from us? So that implies not from a competitor. Was there something that almost stopped you from buying it? And then the 3rd question, for me the most important one, what would you miss the most if we came to your house and we would break down your car part? And believe it or not, but people do have emotional feelings for their car part. Not in the way some of you are thinking right now, but people said, oh no, then I have to scrape the ice from my windshield again, and I have to unload the groceries in the rain, and I have to go more often to the car wash. And exactly those things we used in the redesign. And once again, it's not about the design, it's about the content and the structure of the page. That green checklist, bullet list there on top, is not about the features, it's not about the advantages, but it is, hey, are you also tired of scraping the ice from your windshield every morning? Are you tired of going to the car wash every few days? Are you tired of unloading the groceries in the rain? And what you get here, when somebody visits this page, he goes like, yeah, this website knows my problems. And then we have the solution, and then it results in more requests for quotes. You have to change that, you have to know the behavior of your visitors. You have to know the dreams, the hopes, the barriers of your visitors. You should stop selling the way you sell stuff, and you should start selling the way people want to buy stuff. And this is a small difference in words, but it's a big difference in mindset, and it's only with that mindset that you will succeed. There are many more tools available, and everybody in the audience loves tools. I think for all speakers, it's the most common question. What is your preferred tool? Well, to connect the dots, there's only one tool, and that is ding, ding, your brain and your experience. That's the most important tool in our trade. And then there's this boring part. It's only one slide, but it's a very important one. The strategy. What do you want to achieve? What is the role of that website in your communication strategy? How does it help you as a business? What should be on the website? What should not be on the website? And how to get there? And one of the problems with lots of redesign projects is that people tend to change everything. No, only change the things that needs to be fixed. And don't change the front end and the back end and the design at the same time. Do it step by step. Most of those big bang projects are doomed to fail. And then you have your ID. You have to create a structure, information architecture, mock-ups, and lots of user testing. That's what people tend to forget. We've been talking of, Jamie told about this, is most people do user testing when the project is almost finished. No, do it as early as possible. It's cheaper to change a structure. It's cheaper to change a mock-up than to change your final design when everything is developed. Now, you create a structure, you use a mind map, and probably there are some areas where you think like, ooh, I have no idea how people would structure this. How would my clients, my visitors, what do they think that belongs together? And Abby already talked a bit about open and closed card sorting. So open card sorting is then you have no idea what the structure will be. With closed card sorting, you put down some main items of your navigation and people can put the items in there. I don't use them anymore. Well, not the one with the cars, because it's very time-consuming. There are online alternatives. Optimal Sort, for example, is great. At the right-hand side, this is a website, a job website. On the right-hand side are the job categories. In the left-hand bar, there are the different job titles. And so we asked people, okay, what job title do you think belongs in, what would you look for in which category? People can drag and drop. You can send an invite by mail, post it on Facebook, and a few hours or days later, you get a grid like this. This is the result of a university college. The things on top are the categories, the things on the left are the different courses. And what you see is that most of them are okay, but there's one problem, and I'm looking for a pointer where there is none. This one, cross-media management, 25, 26. So half of the people put it in economics and management, half of the people put it in informatics and multimedia. And then you have to use your brain again. Cross-media management has nothing to do with management. So in this case, the problem is the title of the course. There are some other problem areas like photography and graphic design, informatics and multimedia and art. But this reveals the problem areas of your website, of your structure, and then you can work on it again. But in this case, your visitors, your potential visitors, have made the structure. Nah, that's easy. So you have your structure. Next step you can do is tree testing. A tool called TreeJack we use for it. Same thing, you can upload your structure and you can ask questions. In this case, it's a website where they sell everything for your bathroom and kitchen. And one of the questions we ask is, you're looking for a sink for your guest toilet. People can click in the structure, say, I would find it here. And once again, you have an analysis done for you, where you can see the click path, and at the end, you know the failure rate and the success rate. I'm happy when I have a success rate of 80%. So in this case, only 40% some work to do. But we're still on a structure, and we know what the problem areas of those pages are, of our new website is. And once you have the structure, you can go to the next phase, the mock-ups. This is what most designers do. I deliberately looked for a photo like this. Most designers, when they create a mock-up, they don't use real words. They go like title 1, title 2, and then they use lorem ipsum. And the funny thing is, you can make every website look great when you use fake text, and then you start developing it, and at the end, when it comes to putting real text in it, it doesn't go. So, as have been said before, use real text. It doesn't have to be final, but it should be almost final. And if you use images instead of those things that at points there should be an image in there, you can even use them for user testing. So make your mock-up or prototype as close to the final design as it can be. And then you can use it. If you have a designer, or you are a designer, and you're like, I'm only there for the beauty of the website, and you don't care about words, you're not a designer, but a decorator. You have your mock-up, you can do click testing. Several tools available. You upload a screenshot, and you ask people, where would you find this? People click. Once again, you see results. And this is important, because when people have the first click right, they will reach their goal 6 times better, whatever, than when the first click is wrong. And you can use it for funny things. A few years ago, 2 years ago, we worked for a big insurance company in Europe, and there was a kind of discussion about our proposal for the homepage, a very boring one, and the one made by their agency, very creative. So instead of having discussions and brainstorms, and I think this and I think that, just put up a screen clicking test. This was one of the questions. You just bought an apartment, and you want to get an insurance for it. This is the boring versions. People, Don't pay attention at the black dots. It has nothing to do with the test, but it's my very amateurish way to hide the name of the client. But where people could click was a home icon over there, and I'm still missing the pointer, my warning block there, my house. And then there's the creative version, with a big banner on top, a guy laying down on the floor of his apartment, and the text reads, "Insure your apartment and only pay per square meter." So people could click there, could click on the home icon, and because a stock photo tells so much more than 1,000 words, they added stock photos, and of course there was the same area with my house. The results, I love them. 3% clicked on the big banner. 10% clicked on the home icon, and 38% clicked on the links below. Of course, we asked several questions about the homepage, not only this one. The failure rate in total was 42% of failures. In the boring version, the failure rate was only 20%. And then you have to ask yourself, do I want a page that looks good and doesn't bring you money? Or do I want a page that's not as good, but giving money? Do you want to be Google or Bing? And for those who are now thinking, Karl, this is nothing new. Banner blindness exists for 15 years and we know about it, yes. But it's your job, and especially if you're an agency, don't do what your clients want. You have to fight and you have to use those tests to convince your clients to not use banners and all those things. And then the final thing you can do, we've seen it before today, do a user test on the final mock-up. See what people, where they succeed, where they fail, what they like, what they dislike. And then guess what? You're almost there. You just have to send the mock-ups to a designer and a developer. And if they do it right, and if you follow this method, this will be the result. Your website will bring it to the next level. Of course, only if your designer doesn't fuck it up again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karl. It's always such a pleasure to see you on stage. Thank you. We got a ton of questions. We're going to go through a couple of them and then go to the next speaker. But one of the most popular questions was about triggers on surveys.
Depends on the kind of questions you ask. The one question I showed is, what is your goal of your visit today? We just show it when people enter on the website, because then they haven't been influenced. If it's like a request for offer, then we do it between the requested offer and the thank you page. So it depends. You have to,
Yes.
I always say, you have to buy a t-shirt that says, it depends.
Yeah, no, I absolutely
There are no
agree.
strict rules in all this stuff.
But as you said, the most important tool is the brain, so you start thinking about these
definitely.
things and when does it make sense, obviously. And how do you not bias it?
Yeah, most of the time we use overlays, but you can use, like in Hotjar and other tools, you have these little thingies that pop up on the right-hand or left-hand side. They're also very good. Overlays, exit overlays will end in more people filling it in. So if you have a low-traffic website, be more aggressive with your questions.
Let's do one more. What are your thoughts on converting low-traffic pages into blog posts?
None. Sorry, I don't have any thoughts.
That's awesome. Well, let's leave it there, man. Thank you so much, Karl.
All right, thank you.